back. You're watching Overdrive. Now, when you think of Maserati, you automatically think of sensuous design, Italian charm, and of course, you think of the rich heritage of cars with character. Now, Maserati Levante has done well for itself to incorporate all of that essence into an SUV body style. But just how much of that remains intact when it comes with a hybrid powertrain? Let's find out.
To start with, the Levante GT Hybrid, unlike the name suggests, is only a mild hybrid system that assists a 2-litre turbo petrol with a 48-volt alternator and an electric supercharger. It may be the entry point to the range, but still makes a healthy 330 PS and 450 Nm, while still being 18% more efficient than the V6 in the higher Modena trim. The GT Hybrid is quick, but not blisteringly so. The 0 to 100 kmph time comes in 6 seconds and the top speed is 240 km an hour. Now start driving the Levante GT Hybrid with this downsized engine and you realize that at least in the lower ICE or what is the equivalent of eco or normal modes, this motor is usual fare for what you would find in a luxury SUV such as this one. So it's quiet, it's refined, it's not too much noise coming into the cabin. And the electrification that's there, that e-boost from that electric supercharger does a great job of filling in the gaps in torque in the motor. So you have a linear, wide power band. So it's very easy to drive in these modes. And as always, that ZF 8-speed is just shuffling away in the background, rolling in those soft shifts. But once you dial it into sport mode, that's when the Levante GT Hybrid does a very good job of living up to that trident that's on the grille in front of it, because immediately you notice that there's a sense of urgency that's come into this car. To start with, you can hear it, there's this piped in sound which does a fair job of mimicking, say, a V6 rumble, and it'll even burble and snap right at the top of the rev band when you lift off the gas or upshift. So that's already egging you on. But then the engine becomes much more energetic, it's much more eager to rev out, the throttle response is much sharper, and as you can see, making brisk progress is not very difficult at all. Which brings us to what really stands out when you drive the Levante GT Hybrid, which is the way this fairly large SUV handles a twisty bit of road, with the air suspension lowering down to a very useful height in the sport mode. You have just a bit of tilt and sway, it's nothing unnerving, far from it in fact. For example, the kind of speeds that you can carry when you're just skipping along a twisty bit of road is really quite endearing. There's a lot of grip coming through the car, so you can hold very high speeds in corners. The car stays perfectly stable. There's a little bit of twitching and skipping when you really push it hard, but it's more engaging than anything else. And again, sort of egging you on further is the steering. Okay, it feels a bit lifeless in the lesser modes, but put it into sport and there's genuine old school feedback coming through. So the steering weighs up, it moves around in your arms a bit. Not enough to maybe scare you or for us to call it kickback, but just enough to let you know exactly what the front of the car is doing. And now with the lighter engine, the smaller lighter engine, the front too feels really sharp and darty, so it's quite eager to tuck into a corner to sort of, hold its line well. There are some blink and miss styling updates to go with the first wave of these electrified models from Maserati. So the red from the Maserati Trident is now gone, while the distinct 3 side ports too now have a blue highlight to them. The tail lamps have also been slightly revised to become sleeker with their LED light signature. It's good that the visual changes are limited because the Maserati Levante continues to be a stunner. Even in this plain white shade, the front with the caved-in grille and white lamps looks angry yet elegant. That it still looks contemporary and almost timeless is a great measure of how well this SUV was styled to begin with. Now step inside the Levante GT Hybrid and you have the usual luxury car trimming. So everything that you look at and touch is covered in soft touch material. You have soft touch leather, these large swaths of wood veneer, these soft touch plastics everywhere where you look. But you know that the Levante has been around for a while now, and that shows in the general layout and design. Some of the features that enhance the driving experience of the Levante GT Hybrid are soft closed doors, heated and cooled front seats, powered steering adjustment, an access mode for the air suspension, powered seats and a panoramic sunroof. You don't get ADAS, but there are most passive safety features you could want. Now, if you bought something like the Levante GT Hybrid, invariably you will spend a lot of time in the back seat. And to be honest, it would be unfair to expect a level of space and comfort here that is very similar to, say, a more upright, full-size SUV. But the Levante does well for what it is. So while you don't have that much headroom if you are a tall adult, for me, I'm a medium-sized adult, 5'6" kind of is my height. For me, it's fine. Same with the amount of leg and knee room. In fact, that's quite a bit of it for me. So that is fine, but what we don't like is the design of this sort of seat here. You don't have that much underthigh support, but a bigger problem is this panel that sort of juts out. It sort of hurts you in the lower back, and while we don't like it, maybe some of you will like it. Having said that, the seats themselves hold you pretty well. Priced at Rs 1.45 crore onwards, the Maserati Levante GT Hybrid has some serious contenders to face up against. It could have done with better interiors and maybe a touch more performance, but that's missing the point. Despite the downsizing and the electrification, the Levante GT Hybrid is brimming with character. It makes driving an event, even in an SUV, with the sheer connection you can build with it. And it looks stunning and keeps you comfortable while doing so. A true Maserati then.
Well, with that, we've run out of time on this week's edition of Overdrive. But remember, you can stay in touch with the team through Facebook, Twitter, as well as YouTube. And you can follow our latest updates on Instagram. We'll see you next week. Until then, goodbye. Many thanks for watching.